morning, viewers. Good morning, wonderful people around the world. My name is Godwin Iwejuwa, and we are here again in our news echo for Global Africa. This beautiful Wednesday, the 2nd of August 2023. As usual, we have our coordinators in all parts of the world giving us up-to-the-minute informations. Joining from Lagos, Nigeria is Bidi Nana. Bidi Nana, you're welcome to News Echo Global Africa this Wednesday morning.
Thank you, Massive Mark, for having me once again. Viewers all around the world, thanks for joining us again today. Let's do it like always.
Let's do it like always. You'll be giving us updates from what is happening presently, what's going on there in Nigeria. But before then, we have our great man, our coordinator in Toronto, Canada, Sajod Chukwu. Sajod Chukwu, you're welcome to this beautiful Wednesday morning Global Africa News Update. How are you, sir?
I'm awesome. Good morning. Good morning, Billy. Good morning, Mike Godwin. And good morning, viewers from around the world.
Good. So
It's good to be here.
It's good to be here, Sir George. It's good to be here. But it's not too good to see what is going on in Nigeria. Presently, there is the National Labour Congress said they will go on strike. They will go on a protest. And we woke up this morning and realized of the truth. The protest is going on. A lot of people have said so many things about it, but let's hear from the on-ground coordinator, BD. What's happening there? We're seeing placards, we're seeing people standing, we're hearing chants of "We no go gree, oh, we no go gree." What's going on there, BD?
What is going on is that the process has actually started. It's kicked off from Lagos this morning and other parts of Nigeria. You know, you would have heard that the NLC and Trade Union has said that they are going on strike against the anti-poor policy Tinubu government is dishing out to Nigerians. You understand that recently the NAS approved 70 billion supplementary budget for NAS members, whereas they have removed fuel subsidy. Nigerians are buying fuel for 700 naira a liter. They said the official is 650 something, but it's actually 700. In some part of Nigeria, they are even buying 1,000. They've removed it. They've increased the power tariff. The market women are to pay tax. So many things. They've increased everything. So they said, even yesterday, there was a deliberation on the House. Our Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, and they had a deliberate, and they come to agree that poor should pray why the NAS member gets 70 billion naira for their own good. So it's like, now what is going on in Nigeria is that the 20%, it's not even 10% are the Nigerians, they are the people who are benefiting for the good resources that that God has blessed Nigeria with, whereas the 90% of Nigerians are suffering. So there's been a lot of meeting, a lot of deliberation, a lot of pleading, and a lot of coercing and bribing from Tinubu government, trying to stop them from going for this protest. But actually, the protest has started today, and it started from Lagos. And Abuja people have joined, other states are joining.
Yes. The protest has started, and it started from Lagos. Yes, before this time, we know the President Chief of Staff, Abila, and the National Congress, the National President of the Labour Congress, Joe Ajiro, deliberations. They've been talking. At the point, the Chief of Staff told us they wouldn't do the protest because Joe said they wouldn't. But Joe came out yesterday and said the protest will go on in his protest.
Yeah, they made a lot of offer to them.
Yes.
They offered them a lot of money so that they won't go for the protest. But Nigerians came and accused NLC even before receiving the bribe that NLC is no longer speaking for Nigerians. So I think NLC don't have any other choice than to go for this protest because the Nigerians cannot continue this way.
Sir George, We also know that the president had a speech, an address to the nation on Monday in a bid to advance this protest. And but it doesn't seem like that speech, that address worked. Sir George, how are you seeing this from your corner? What's happening?
It's truly a state of emergency in our country and in a lot of countries around the world, but especially in Nigeria. Number one is the dissatisfaction of what INEC did to put a bad taste on everybody's mouth, and the inability of the government in the past to effectively manage the problems and bring solutions to the people. It has always been, they will make promises and they will fail. But people are coming to the realization, because when you begin to affect the people and their table and the food that they eat, their natural existence, that is what the problem is. People are coming to the point right now, they could be able to survive before, scale through problems. But right now, it's practically becoming impossible for people to sustain the food on their table, the gas on their tanks, and everything else that is going on. So all these measures that they are trying to take by making empty promises, which they have done in the past, and the people were, because there's still food, they're still buying gas. Right now, people are coming to that point where they are like, it is a state of emergency in my stomach. It is a state of emergency in my gas tank. It is a state of emergency, me being on the road to attend work. So this is exactly what you are seeing. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And believe me, there are so many things that are happening and will continue to happen. You're talking about NLC and TUC, striking. Wait until the whole entire Nigeria takes off on the road, because what you're seeing in Arab Spring is coming down to Africa right now. People are really tired. So
George,
now,
the situation is the address on Monday also promised some palliatives. Even though, like you said, the TUC President Festus Osifo, he said those measures were not comprehensive enough, the palliative plan by the federal government. And but what will you say if government has said they will give some amount of money to some number of people, and these people are saying, no, we're going on the street? So how do you see this? Is it that
the problem is this. The federal government just apportioned to themselves a large sum of money, irrespective of the fact that the regular people are suffering. Their suffering has gone from, it's gone from, like 10% to 120%. They still apportion that money to themselves. And nobody can actually tell you how much they're making with all the allowances and everything. So if they're voting it for themselves and you removing the fuel subsidy, which is the only way most Nigerians might have been, saying, okay, we are getting some kind of benefit from the natural resources that is in Nigeria, and now you take and yank it off, and then you promising palliative. The palliative that you promised during the pandemic, how did it go? All the other promises that you're getting, you're merging the internet, the money exchange, but the international, and when you merge the money exchange, and there are no plans whatsoever to alleviate the pain that people are feeling. You see, one thing they don't understand is this. It is coming a time when people are so hungry that when they take to the street, they will say, I die or you do something. So that's where Nigerians are coming right now. And they are waiting. Let me tell you the reason why Nigerians are waiting. Wait until the Justice Department makes their own decision in announcing about all these cases that are in the court. That's when you will see fire erupt in Nigeria. People are waiting because there is still a small glimmer of hope, for that hope that was given to them during the campaign, that things might still change. by them doing the right thing and electing the person who truly won that election to get there. But if it doesn't happen, it's going to be something else. Anyway, let's stop there.
Something else. BD, to wrap up on this topic, what do you think? You think this will spiral around the whole states, 37 states of Nigeria? Because what we're seeing presently is just Lagos. Do you think everybody will take into this and we see something positive coming out of it? Will there be good negotiations and a better deal?
Yeah, it will actually spread out around Nigerian states, but don't underrate the government that is in power. Tinubu government is a government. Tinubu himself is one man who knows how to use media. He has used media very well to get to where he is. So they are not relenting. One thing you should know is this protest is going to be hijacked. Watch it. They are
And that
not
was what
relenting.
that was what the Labour president said, that they will do everything.
They are
will
going to
force
hijack this. They are
that
putting
they
on
will show
plans now. They
they
are
will
putting
block
on plans
blocks.
to truncate this protest. So they are not going to. There are people you should know. They are not going to fold their hands and watch you protest, which is going to affect their government. Now let me talk about the palliatives. Yeah, the Tinubu government has come to say that read out the palliative they are going to distribute to SMEs and nano and the other companies. That the palliative more is going to infrastructure and manufacturing. Now, let me tell you one thing. That's not palliative and it's not going to work. Let me tell you why it's not going to work. Nigerian is a fuel-based economy. Now, you give me a loan of single rates. Let me say you give me loan of 20 million or 50 million. Then I have to use half of that money to pay for power. I have to use it to pay for double taxation. How is that business going to work? What I expected federal government to do first is to take care of power. Do you understand? If you have power in Nigeria, if you have a good power system in Nigeria, then you cannot say you're giving people loan because you cannot give me money to go and do a business where the half of the money you're giving me, I'm going to use it to run on power. Nobody does business in Nigeria without power. We don't have good power system. So you can't say you're building an economy when you don't have a good power system. You give me loan and half of the money you give me loan is going to go on power. Another half is going to go on multiple taxation. So if we don't take care of those two things, forget it, we've not started.
Very good. Act top. That's a very good one. If we don't take care of those two things, power, electricity is a core of every economy, core of every nation. And sad that we're. George, do you have anything to say on that? What Didi said, brilliant thing she said. Power
Well,
and taxation. Do you have anything on that? That's
well,
what it is.
I mean, part of the whole entire system, why Nigeria is still where we are when it comes to energy and the power, is simply because of the gang of people that are importing fuel, importing what do you call them, the
Generator.
generators and all those type of things. So, to be very frank with you, all I have to say is this: Nigeria better be careful because the pain is going so deep in people. People are dying. People don't understand this. People are dying, but there are no statistical measures to tell you how many people are dying of hunger. There is so much kwashiorkor in Nigeria as we speak, in certain parts of the state, because of people afraid to get out and do things. And we're here sitting and laughing. They better be careful because let me tell you, an hungry man is unstoppable. That's all I can say.
Angry man is unstoppable.
It's not angry,
And
hungry.
okay,
Hunger
hungry.
and
Yeah, hunger.
hunger and anger together.
Yes,
Hungry is unstoppable.
angry. Thank you very much. We want to move on to also very serious issue. As Nigeria is boiling, Africa is boiling, and in fact, some of the viewers have started putting in their comments. gentlemen, lady, you know that we are like in a season of coup now in Africa. As at yesterday, a spreadsheet came out from Sierra Leone saying that they averted a coup attempt, and we know what is happening in Niger. So I hope you're following all of this. But you see, what is more important in this whole thing is it looks as if Africa, the organization that binds Africa together, is losing its grip on the African countries. Yesterday, Professor Bola Tinubu, one-time Minister for Internal Affairs, said that the actions taken by the United African Union regarding this coup in Niger is a deliberate attempt to undermine the authority of that union. And we're seeing South Africa as an agent of trying to turn around every policy, everything that is happening in the AU, African Union. So the man raised the alarm, and also our man, the lawyer Falana, the activist, said that declaring, because ECOWAS and EU want to declare a no-fly zone in Niger, and their plan is to use that to see if they can bring back the democratic governance of the man there before. So there's so much confusion now, and out of nowhere yesterday there was an attempt on Sierra Leone. So what are you guys observing? What's happening? Let me start with Didi. What's happening in Niger? How is it affecting Africa and Nigeria? And is it probably going to instigate some other countries doing this? Because some people are really tired, like George said. We don't know if the Arab Spring wants to repeat itself in Africa. Go ahead, BD.
Sir George and Massive Mike, what is happening what happened in Niger is not new in Africa. It's like it's a trend now in Africa. Now, what I want to talk about is that why is it so? If you remember, if you read the history of coup in Africa, after the independence, it's like it happened, it became a trend, and after some time it stopped. Now it's coming back again. Now the question should be, why is it becoming a trend in Africa? It's becoming a trend in Africa is because the democratic system of government in Africa has failed Africans. I want to tell you categorically that many Africans are really happy about what is going on. And if you look at the reason they gave in Niger is because of poverty, insecurity, and others. Now, it is obvious that African leaders has been the kind of leaders we have in Africa has been a selfish leaders who don't even care about the people. They only go to the seat of power for their own personal interests, to live an affluent life, then where the people they are governing perish in poverty. And that is why. So, if, for me, my own personal opinion, if these military people, like if you look at they say they are stopping so many things with Western world. If these military people can restore the glory of Africa, so be it. That's my personal opinion. Because let me tell you, you see the ECOWAS and EU intervention in Niger, it wasn't carrying weight. It wasn't carrying weight. Secondly, because of their leader. They even said it. And who is their leader? Is our president. It wasn't carrying weight. So AU have not even stood their ground as leaders in Africa. Their interest has never been of the people. Their interest has been of their leaders. So, my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for anybody, is that from what some African youth have been saying, if this military system of government will restore the glory of Africa, so be it. That's just me.
So be it. If it will restore the glory of Africa, a viewer is saying, Godwin E. Moka, saying, something is happening in French West Africa that requires a pragmatic response. Sir George, I know you're an international man, you follow the international trend. It's a serious thing going on. And one of the things in all of this is the fact that Africans say the European colony countries that colonize Africa, that they are tired of them. They are saying countries like France should get out of their way, but they are bringing back. They want the other side of Europeans. You know, they want the Middle East. They want Russia. They want China. They want Asia. These other people to come in and help them. So, George, what are you saying about this? Niger is a case study, and yesterday, like I said, Sierra Leone would have had its own issues too.
Niger is a case study. Niger is a case study where people are getting tired of the government's, so-called pseudo democracy in Africa, a mock democracy in Africa. They're getting tired of it, enriching themselves, and then the Western world is helping them. When the money is looted out of your country, it goes into their own economy. They will keep quiet. What happened during Arab Spring was where, most Western world, they were containing some leaders because they were able to hold their people to order. So now, when Arab Spring started, they turned against those governments, those leaders that they installed, and literally killed most of them. Gaddafi, for example, and then the one from Iraq. So all these things that are happening, people's eyes are opening, and people are getting so angry about the poor people becoming poorer, and then the decisions that are being made by EU and the decisions that are being made by ECOWAS is basically to protect these corrupt leaders. It's not for the people. So people are rising up. Even from South Africa, a lady was talking about, the head of, our president, who is the head of
ECOWAS.
ECOWAS.
Yes. That's why
he's not a legitimate president. What right does he have to come and impose anything on us? He's, those type of little things, when what used to work in the past no longer work. And let me tell you something. Why you seeing the rise of coup? It happened in Gambia. It happened in Guinea-Bissau. It happened in now Niger. And since the independence, there has been about 200 coups that took place. But what is happening is the government, the leaders are empowering themselves so to the point and making laws to protect themselves. So people are rising up. And believe me, you will see more of it. There is nothing. My friend Godwin Moka is saying that we need a pragmatic response to this. The response is the question the people from Niger are asking. Why was the coup? Why are the public so happy that the coup took place? Because they were the disenfranchised citizens who are not getting anything. People are dying of hunger, and these people are just flaunting themselves and making themselves just becoming like political fat cats. The time has come for a change, and there's going to be a change in Africa, and that's exactly. See, the Western world handed us democracy, but they did not tell us also that democracy, if it is government for the people, by the people, and with the people, you have to be fair and just in your application of the laws. And when you become unjust and corrupt in your system and making laws to protect yourself, the only thing you have is people rising up against, the system. And that's what's happening. And believe me, it will continue to happen because people are tired.
It will continue to happen. Now,
Massive Mark.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I have to say this. Is it because it was not military? Now, President Tinubu wants to make a statement as ECOWAS leader. It will not stand because he overthrew the people in Nigeria. That his emergency was a coup. It's not because it was not military. It was a coup too, because he took the mandate of people with all he has. It was coup. What happened in Nigeria was coup. It's not only when it's military that you call it a coup. It was coup that's happened in Nigeria, and he saw it happen. Now, coming to make him the leader in Africa, it won't work. It will worsen the situation. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Africa today.
And that's the angle I was going to ask you, Jen. When a president that didn't get into power through the transparent, authentic process, now sits as ECOWAS chairman, ECOWAS president, doesn't that diminish the power of ECOWAS on Africa? Because what we're seeing now is all they've said so far, they plan to do a no-flight zone, they plan to make sure they give back the power to Mohamed Bazoum. It's not working. And that is because, like you said, the ECOWAS man is also, they said it bluntly, they said it out to him, that you didn't come into power through the normal way. So, but will this not recede or diminish the power of ECOWAS, Sir George? So will this make ECOWAS become redundant and less active in its operation in Africa?
When the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? And we know that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And when you have what you have in Nigeria today, people are mourning, whether we like it or not. You understand? So now, you know a dead fish when it starts smelling from the head. So Tinubu recently talked about that coup d'etat will be intolerable in Africa, that we will not tolerate it. What do you see after a few weeks after that?
Few days is a week.
Few days. It went down there. Simply because when a man of integrity is talking and is flawless in his application of the law, people, especially, let me tell you, Nigeria is a very unique country. If you remember what happened during Idiabo, it will tell you that Nigerians are visionaries. When a visionary leader comes out and position themselves in such an authoritative way, because the Nigerians know that the individual cares about them, they will follow. These are the characteristics of our people. That's why we're so unique. Then when you come and we begin to do wrong, the foundation is already corrupted the way the election went. So the authority of this man is being questioned already in Africa, and within Nigeria, it is going to happen eventually. So that's exactly what is happening. So right now, people, I think that, like what Godwin Moka was saying, we need a pragmatic response to this. You can't come out and tell the Nigerians that you have saved 1 trillion naira already, and they're looking at you like, okay, where is the money? What effect is it having in my life right now? I still don't have bread. I can't even buy bread and butter, and you're telling me 1 trillion has been saved, and still promising palliatives that are nowhere, a road to no destination.
Road to no destination. Thank you, Sir George. Sir George, let's go on a small break. Viewers, you are on to SSM Schengen Story Media News Echo. Today, Global Africa. We look into all matters of news that has impact in our lives on Global Africa. Today, Wednesday, 22nd of August. So stay tuned as we go on a short break. We'll be right back for more of what is happening around Africa. Thank you. Thank you, Sir George. Thank you for that beautiful insight.
Arise, oh, compatriots, Nigeria's call, obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of
This country has some of the most extraordinary culinary diversity in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. This first dish is amala abula, made popular by the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria. It starts with amala made from dried yam and then is covered in a variety of soups. Next we have ofe and sala, a white soup that is synonymous with the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. It goes best with fufu, or akbo as the Igbos call it. Next we have suya, the most well-known food of the Hausa and Fulani people of northern Nigeria. Meat is covered in a peanut-based powder called yaji and cooked over an open fire. This is banga and starch, a classic of the Urhobo people of Delta State. Lastly, we have onunu, a plantain-based swallow of the Izon people in south-south Nigeria. We are eating it with fisherman soup, popular throughout this whole region. And of course, we don't forget the jollof rice. This is popular everywhere in Nigeria. I think what makes Nigeria so great is the diversity of all the different people coming together. These beautiful ethnic groups living side by side, sharing culture and cuisine is what makes Nigeria such an amazing country to visit. Nigerians should be so proud of that cultural heritage, as there is so much more that unites than divides them.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. It's Schengen Story magazine's full editions, celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle, inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment, a better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
You're welcome. Welcome back to News Echo. Welcome back to News Echo Global Africa. Today, Wednesday, 2nd of August 2023. We're giving you updates as it concerns Nigerians in the diaspora, Nigerians all over the world. So, Sir George, Didi, I hope you're all still there. Other things are also happening while the NLC protest is going on. We have other issues going on. Presently, there's a screening of the ministerial lists that INEC President Tinubu submitted. As of Monday, I was watching live about 14 of the 28 ministerial nominees that have been forwarded to the Senate. We have ex-governors Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna. We have Dave Umahi of Ebonyi. We have so many people there. I want to put it to you guys. What do you think about that list? We've never had a real discussion on that list. The list of APC allies, APC members and friends and all that. What do you say? George, let me start with you, George. What do you say about that list, the 8 ministerial list for Tinubu's administration?
Well, ministerial list is government will always choose those they feel that can work with them, especially in the cabinet, but what we're saying, the only funny thing about this ministerial list is exposing a lot of things that are happening in our country. One of the ones that is so funny is a man was asked, so how far did you go in your education, in your secondary school? And the man answered and said, I didn't go too far because the school was behind my house. That is the intelligence of the people that we have appointed to be our ministers. And so a friend of mine became, the commissioner for lands in Nasarawa State a few years ago after we sent him off here. And then what happened? When he got there and they say Americana don't come, the old commissioner for land refused to go. Every day he will come to work. And then when this new guy give order, he will give counter order. And then because the people know him and they've known him for many years, he refused to leave. There was confusion all over the place until the governor got involved. These are the type of uneducated individuals that they install in these positions. They don't know their left from their right. They're trying to give you the answer when they don't even know the questions. So these are things that we have experienced in our country. All of a sudden, there's an exposure of all these hidden corrupt things. Number one, in the court today, we're talking about a president who could not, even tell us what university he went to, what his age is, and all those type of things. And these are the things that you're seeing when questions are being asked, and then you see that the system has been corrupt for so long. Listen, I have nothing much to add to this whole entire saga in our political system in Nigeria. It just exposes a whole lot of bad things that has been, and people are publicly, being humiliated because of the lies they have told to get to the position where they currently are. That's what you're saying.
People are publicly humiliated because of the lies they have told. Bidi, looking at that list, I see about 6 women. Do you think it's gender friendly? Is that is the new Tinubu's ministerial list? Is it because I see a couple of young ladies. There's that Betsy Edun. There's also one lady there that I know, Stella Obrotete, and some other ladies. What do you think about that list and the female number? Is it saying something that women are beginning to come into politics?
Massive mark. Out of 38, and you have 6 women, and you said it's gender friendly. It's certainly not. It's not gender friendly at all. It's not. But because it's something we've not been doing, people will always talk about it. And now the ministerial list, what you will see in that list is that it's like a compensation list. The president is trying to compensate people. It's not actually appointing people who will work for the good of the nation. Now, in the history of Tinubu, they have said that he's been known to using good hands, which they said he did when he was the governor. I didn't know when he was the governor. Do you understand? Now, but the case is different. He's not actually using the good hands. He's not bringing people who will bring things to the table for Nigerians. He's actually compensating people who have worked for him. And it's not a party issue. Now, in a country, politicking is different from governance. Nigerians are done with politics. I think we should get over to governance so that we can move Nigeria forward. But what you see in that ministerial list is that we are still politicking because it's all about APC. APC are not the only people in this country.
You have some PDP people there. I mean,
Akpabio is there. Akpabio is there.
See,
Akpabio is there. Wike is there.
Akpabio is which party?
No, not
Akpabio is which?
Akpabio.
It's only Wike.
No. Wike is no. Wike is there.
Wike is not PDP. Wike is APC.
No.
Wike is not PDP.
Wike is PDP. Forget about him. Prostituting himself. He is PDP. Don't say he's APC. So Wike is PDP.
Excuse me. How many PDP is there? Wike. Is that how we run a country?
Yes, that's how you run politics. It's all over the world. If you come to America, you honor those that work with you when you are fighting to get there. That is how it is done. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with the ministerial list. But it could wait. You know, a good government, when you surround yourself with able, capable, and enlightened individuals in their area of expertise. So this particular list here is fairly equitable as far as I am concerned. I'm not even bashing the man. Okay, when it comes to this particular ministerial list, it is fairly equitable. 8 women or however. Listen to this though. Listen. It's fairly equitable. I know that the Southeast is not fully represented in that area. Now we can question that when the time comes, but you know, bashing the fact that he selected this and selected that. These are people that worked with him to get him to where he is. That's how politics plays, even in North America, in Europe, and all over the place.
Yes, it's fairly equitable for you, Sir George. That's okay. That's your opinion. But for my own opinion, it's not fairly equitable for me.
Okay, what is it?
That's how politics run. And is that politic way of running? Is it healthy? That's what we should be asking ourselves.
No, tell us, you know, what your beef with this.
I don't have any beef. I don't have a beef with anybody. I am just
No, I'm talking about the list, though.
I'm just my list is that Tinubu has been known for using.
Forget about Tinubu. Tell us what it is that is.
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
Forget about Tinubu. You have to tell us specifically what is it that is unfair about the list.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. And you say it's equitable for you. That's okay, but it's not equitable for me.
I'm telling you why it's equitable for me. Why is it not equitable for you?
That is you. It's not equitable for you. It's equitable for you. That is okay.
Tell us now. Tell us the reason.
Stop me. Then you don't want to listen to me. How will I tell you? I'm saying
you are attacking Tinubu. I am
not attacking anybody. I'm not attacking anybody. What I'm saying is this. Okay. The list, what we saw in that list is compensation. And we cannot run a country by compensating people. Even when you're not capable to lead a country, to lead a parastatal or a unit, and they will give you position because of you know somebody who knows somebody. You cannot run a country like that. Now, secondly, in that list,
do you understand where she's coming from?
I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to listen.
George is saying that all over the world, it is a normal, it's a way of doing it that they bring in those that have helped them into power, and all those surrounding him are those that he now makes his ministers. That's what George is trying to say. But you are saying, let's not be what you were saying indirectly is let's not be politically correct in everything. Let's do things sometimes from good point of view.
Exactly. Let's look for experts. Let's look for people who can deliver, not just compensating. There's another way we can. There's many ways we can compensate people who work with us, not by trading with the life of Nigerians. Just because you work for me and you're not capable, and I'll give you position, and a lot of Nigerians suffer it. No, for the fact that is how it's been done all around the world does not mean we should continue it.
Yeah, Billy, I'm with you on this. You know why? Because normally where they compensate, Sir George, what I know they compensate those that have helped into power is ambassadorial slots. That's how you give this compensation. You see, because this ministerial position is very critical. It's not bring anybody because they helped you. You need real expert. You need somebody that understands that role. The Minister of Transport will be able to understand what transport.
Can I ask you guys a question?
It is the ambassadorial slot that
Can I ask you guys a question?
Right.
Okay. I wanted to just because I've been involved in politics when I was in the US, and I'm in politics over here in Canada, and I've involved myself in political system in Nigeria during the Jonathan era. My question to you is this: you are bashing, saying that it is unfair, and we're talking about women, getting involved. Because I used to be an advocate. Put a lot of women there because they are good. They are detail oriented and all that kind of stuff. But when you look around in the whole total history, I think 8 women, where Nigeria is today, I think that is a little fair. Number one, we've seen a lot of women come into politics rather than being mothers of the system, and mothers of the situation, they get involved in the corruption. Look at Desiani, there's El-Rufai and the rest of them. These are the things. I know men have been corrupted their own ways, but these women, when they come, nobody can, legitimately come and say, well, put women in there because they this out there, that. There's no difference between them and men, if you really ask me right now, when it comes to the corrupt system in Nigeria. But the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is this. Now, you want experts to get into all these areas. How do I know you are an expert if you don't get involved in the political system? If you are an APC member and you were, so hold on, and you were a surgeon, you are a surgeon, and they want to bring the person who is the head of the health department in Nigeria, they can put that person in there. Okay, so I do understand fairly. I do understand fairly, in a fair kind of way where a lot of these people are compensated, but you don't think that they are, capable of handling the post. And the point is, you don't know whether they can handle it or not.
Sir George, why are you sounding like this?
Why am I sounding like what?
I don't like the way you're sounding.
No, I'm being fair because when I see the truth, I have to
You're
speak
being
it.
politically correct. And
No, I'm not. No, I'm
That's
not.
not what we need in Nigeria now. No, you're not being fair to Nigerians.
How is it
You're
that I'm not being fair? What are you
It's
saying?
obvious.
No, it's not fair. You're
Yes,
not being fair. And I will
welcome
take that.
welcome
Now,
into
look,
the
let me
debate.
tell you.
Sorry,
most of the people,
let's welcome our great man, Russian coordinator, Dr. Godwin Ibe. Dr. Godwin, you're welcome into today's broadcast.
Thank you so much. It's obvious I missed a lot. It's obvious I missed a lot.
You missed a lot because the argument here now is about
the temperature is so hot. I could feel it from here.
Listen, we have 2,000 people listening to you guys, and I think it's because of the argument from George and BD.
We're not arguing. We're making points.
What we're saying now is, as Dr. Ibe we're giving the two sides of the ministerial list, and George is saying it's a fair list. The names there, I think George knows some of them personally, maybe, and he says it's fair. But BD is coming through on the other side, and she's saying, no. Most people there were just placed there because they helped Tinubu get into power. They are not she doesn't think they are capable. So what will you say on this? Let me give you this. BD, we'll come to you, please. Let's hear from Godwin. Godwin, what would you think about the ministerial list? Because President, now as we're talking, there's a screening going on, and obviously the Senate will pass them all through. Senate will, because these are the Senate too is like a stooge for Tinubu. So we rarely had cases where Senate eliminates some people. They just take them all through. So what will you say of this screening, this list?
Yeah, I don't want to single out anybody in terms of like Tinubu or not Tinubu, because the Nigerian political structure has been this way for quite a while. There is cooperation between the arms of government behind the scenes on many of the decisions, and there's a hierarchy of power, clear hierarchy of power, with the president wielding so much influence, even wielding influence going all the way to the central bank and to different arms of the government, to the point that even the security services of the executive is more powerful than maybe the police, the army, the court, security, and all of that. So there's a clear hierarchy in power, and there's always, because of that hierarchy, it's clear that someone at the top who makes a decision, the decision behind the scenes will diffuse to the different arms of government, and any other thing that will happen in public are people who are outside of that command chain, and which are mostly the common people, mostly the common everyday people. So basically, I don't think there'll be much opposition if it's reached the stage of announcement to the public. There'll be less opposition in the power structures. There could be opposition in the opposition parties. There could be opposition in the common people, but there will be no much opposition in the power structures. Now, about it being fair or not fair, I haven't scrutinized everybody on the list, but it is it is unclassical, non-traditional to expect that there'll be no element of political rewarding in appointments in the Nigerian structure. It's
In
impossible.
political system. Political
And the-
system.
Yes,
That's how it
we
is all
agree
over.
Yes,
with that.
it's
We agree with that.
yeah, we
But
agree. We agree. I think we can all agree on that. There's no, it's impossible to eliminate political rewarding in appointment.
yes,
So how now you now take a given political rewarding, and then you now mix it with level of competency. How competent are you now rewarding people that are absolutely incompetent, or you're rewarding somebody who is competent to fulfill the post? Maybe not the most competent, because if it was the most competent, then there will be no element of political rewarding. You just take the best based on some objective criteria, which is published out in the open. But there's no such criteria. So there's political rewarding. Then you might have options. Now, what you will now basically what most people will be critical about, because anybody who is critical about political rewarding in Nigerian citizens is hypocritical in a way, because this has been a long term. You might say it's bad, but saying that it's a new bad thing, it's hypocritical. It's not new. But the level of competency, how much competent are these people to be able to fulfill the tasks that are given to them, which Nigerians really need and which we need for the progress of Nigeria? That is what we need to look at. And so we should stop. We should not focus too much on the rewarding or not rewarding aspect. We should look at the competence. What are the competence of people? Are they fit for the job? What is there some kind of does it represent these 6 geopolitical zones? Because it's a big thing in Nigeria. We all know that. So are they competent, and is it reflective of the 6 geopolitical zones? Well, these are the most important things that we need to look at.
Godwin, we wish you were here earlier. Some real wonderful insight. Thank you. So, but with what you're saying, I think you're aligning more to Diddy's take. Gentlemen, everything you say is what it is. Viewers can now take it in and decide on what is
Massive man.
So I want us to move on. We have very little time.
We'll move on. I want to say one thing, then we'll move on. I want to say one thing.
Yeah, okay,
Have you people considered that there's kind of secrecy behind this list? From the ones I've seen before, they will put the name of the ministers, but now they didn't put the name. They just you understand? They just submitted their name. They didn't submit the position they are occupying. So it means that tomorrow they will just occupy their health, and because you've screened the person takes
that position. Thank you very much.
It seems like an attempt to hide competency. I said it. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah.
That's a good one. I wondered why the offices weren't put, the portfolio weren't put out with their names. That was really strange. So let's move on to. We have very few minutes. There's something that happened yesterday. It concerns us here too. That is Tinubu's government promised that there will be freedom of press in Nigeria. The government said they will make sure the press is given open hand, no more taking down on the press and all that. So why I looked at that as a critical thing to talk about is because we are also in that category. Now, the man that was giving the announcement is a newly appointed special advisor on media publicity in Nigeria. Media publicity to the president. One young man called Edun Ngelale. Now, if you follow the Buhari's media team, Edun Ngelale, I think he's from South, from Takot, so I think he's half white, half cast, half Nigerian, half somewhere.
I think he's half Lebanese. He's not white.
They're half Lebanese. Now, the young man, he's good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. He can give very good views and opinion on issues. But the thing now is, this deliberate support of something not right, and some people just want to support it and give reasons why that wrong thing should go on. I mean, what do you guys say? Now we're talking in relating to the press freedom they say we will enjoy, and how are we sure we are going? The Nigerians will really enjoy press freedom. I mean, we all saw what happened last year. Twitter was taken down. People's phones are censored. A lot of social medias are controlled. BD that is here has issues with her line, her blog. So let me start with a few minutes, very few, everybody. Sir George, Nigeria has promised that there will be press freedom. What do you think?
The taste of the pudding is in the eating. Talk is cheap. You can promise whatever you want. It is when the application lines up with what you say, then we will believe you. So, being politically correct does not mean that this is the way it's going to be, or you won't go underneath and begin to hijack and destroy people when they say things against you. So, if they say there's going to be freedom of press, they promised us that it's going to be a fair, equitable, and just election, but it did not happen. So how are we going to believe this one? Until we see it, then we'll believe it.
Until we see it, then we'll believe. Thank you very much. Godwin, what do you think?
Let me give the floor to BD. I will talk. Let BD speak. Thank you.
Okay, I want to take it. Okay, BD, I know you have a lot. You are the one experiencing it there.
Please, my network is having issue. Can you hear me very well?
Very well.
Yes.
We're talking about the freedom of speech in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, freedom of speech.
Yesterday, the government made a declaration that there will be freedom of the Tinubu said he will ensure that there will be freedom of the press.
Which government are we talking about? Tinubu governments? That's not possible. See, we should forget about this political jagabdon and these governments, I give it to them. They know how to use it. I was telling some people 2 days ago, I said, Nigeria should understand that Tinubu is the first politician that is ruling Nigeria. If you check the history of past presidents we have, none of them have been politicians, either military or people they brought, do you understand, people they coerce. This is the first time a politician is ruling Nigeria. And this is a man who has been in the game for a lot of time. And that's why he said, let's rescue Nigeria. I said, rescue Nigeria from who? From you, certainly, because you've been part of the system for years. Now, Tinubu cannot say he's giving Nigerian press or Nigerians freedom of speech, and you believe it. Me, Vidinana, I will not believe it. Even me, if I tell you how many threats I'm getting on myself, or how people come about me, I have a blog, they put it down every day. There's no months my blog is not. I keep building new blogs, so there's nothing like giving us freedom. It's not possible.
Let me drop in my 2 cents before we go. Yes, obviously a lot of people just talk about this freedom. Sometimes I wonder, like, if they even know what freedom is. How can you be free if you don't know where your next meal is coming from? Who are you free from? What are you free from? Where are you free from if you have no channel to air out nobody's listening to you? If you tear off your clothes and you go on the market square and nobody gathers to you, what are you free from? If you are going to scream and that scream, nobody will translate it into any meaningful action, what are you free from? To be free, you have to be free totally. And one of them is security economical. You cannot always remove economic and think only about if they do not, put me in jail or stuff like that. A lot of things that why a lot of people are easy to buy their vote. A lot of people are quiet because they have a job. They probably have a job, or they probably have a place that they're trying to, this leverage for my next meal. Let me secure it and not jeopardize it all for the sake of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Listen, the studio is giving me signal here. They say we are running past Godwin from Moscow, to Godwin Ibe from Moscow, Russia, Sir George Chuku from Toronto, Canada, and Miss BD Nana. Thank you all for coming in. We'll be back on Friday, same time for our foreign affairs news update. Until then, thank you guys. Have a beautiful midday. And let's go back to watching the protests, the NLC protests in Nigeria and what the effects will be. Thank you. Bye-bye.